back to my channel. Today I am kicking off the year by sharing you my recipe for my French macarons, and I'll be giving you some tips and tricks on how to yield this perfect shape. So if you want to know this recipe, just keep watching.
Our first step in making the macarons is to separate the eggs. So I'm just cracking it in a bowl, and then I'll be separating the egg whites from the egg yolks. I'm using around 9 eggs here, and then I'm going to be dividing it into 2. So the egg whites that I've collected, I'm separating it into 2 bowls. One bowl is for the paste, and then one bowl is for the meringue, which I will be putting it in the KitchenAid directly. Step 2 is making the paste. So I'm using equal parts of powdered sugar and almond flour. I'll just be mixing it with my hands, and I'm just trying to remove all those little lumps. And then I'm using a sift, and I'm just going to be sifting it around 2 to 3 times, and it should look something like this. So remember when I said that I divided the egg whites into 2 parts? So okay, I'm using 1 part now for the paste. I just poured in my egg whites and I mixed it until it looks something like this, forming a paste. Nice and smooth, and it should look something like this. Now that my paste is all ready, I'm going to be dividing it. So I'm getting the total weight and dividing it by the number of colors that I'll be using. So for me, I'll be using 5 colors, so I'm dividing the total weight into 5. Step 3 is to make the Italian meringue. So I'm using some white sugar and pouring it directly into a sauce pot, and I'll be putting in the water too. And then now I'm just going to cook this until it reaches the soft ball stage. So once your sugar syrup hits around 240 degrees, turn on your mixer and then just wait until it hits 245 degrees. Once it hits 245 degrees, just pour it to the side of your KitchenAid and just mix it until you finish all the sugar syrup, and just whisk it until it cools down. The consistency you're looking for is something like this. Stiff peaks and nice and glossy. Step 4. Coloring, dividing, and piping. Just like what we did earlier, I'm also dividing the meringue by the total weight of the meringue divided by the number of colors. So I'm dividing my meringue into 5 because I have 5 colors. Now the fun part. It is now time to color our macarons. So I'm using gel food coloring for the pink, but I'm actually using liquid food coloring for the blue. So just a little tip. Since we have to work fast with our meringues, I'm preparing all the things needed first before mixing in my paste and my meringue mixture. So I'm getting my tray, I'm getting my template, and I'm also getting my piping tip and piping bag and preparing them already. So here I'm using some baking paper. Now that I have all my things ready, I'm now ready to mix in the paste and the meringue mixture together. So I'm just mixing it vigorously until I get my desired consistency. So my desired consistency is something like this. It is still thick, it holds its shape, but it's nice and smooth as well. And remember guys, under mixing is always better than over mixing. The consistency of your batter will determine how thick or how thin your macarons will be. So I suggest everybody to have a template ready, just to make sure that all your circles are nice and even, and don't forget they will still spread a bit like this one here. So your spacing and piping is key to having nice circle macarons. Now tap the trays a little bit just to remove some of the air bubbles, and if you see some air bubbles that haven't completely popped, just get a toothpick and pop them yourself. It's not a problem at all. So now before baking, I'm going to ask you guys to dry out your macarons. So I dry mine out for around 45 minutes or until I'm able to touch the surface like this. When you dry your macarons well, it prevents it from having cracks in the middle, and it also gives it those beautiful iconic feet at the bottom. So I bake mine for around 12 minutes at 325 degrees Fahrenheit. here is the final product. Well, not the final product, but the final product for the shells. So as it cools down, it should come off like this easily. Right now they're still kind of warm, but then when they cool down, you're supposed to be able to pull it out very easily like this. I'm so happy with these feet right now. I'm just so happy. So you get these feet, like what I said, from drying it out properly. And now that I'm happy with it, I'm just piping on some ganache in the center of the macarons for the blue ones. And then for the pink ones, I'm piping in some salted caramel buttercream. So I truly am happy with how these came out. And I'm so excited to try them out. And I'm so excited for you guys to try this out too. So now if you have any comments or questions regarding how I make these macarons, you can leave it in the comments and I'll try my best to answer them. It's a bit tough at first to make these macarons, but then with practice, you'll be able to get nice shapes like this. These are delicious to eat right now, but then they taste even better around 2 days after it has been kept in the refrigerator or in the freezer. I'm so excited for all of you guys to try this, and I hope it turns out really well for you guys too.
Thank you guys for watching. I hope you can try out my recipe. And don't forget to follow the tips and tricks that I give you guys so that you can have a really pretty macaron shape. So see you on my next video. Bye!